Hey guys, and welcome back to Posh Gotney TV. My name's Liam Norval, and this is Living the Dream. And today's guest, well, you're in for a treat. Three-time championship jockey. He's won 500 group races, over 3,000 winners in his career. He's one of the biggest names in sport ever. His name is Frankie Dettori. Let's have a chat with him. I'm delighted to be joined on Living the Dream by a friend of mine, and you would know him as one of the most well-known sporting personalities the world has ever seen. Frankie Dettori, how are you?
Morning, Liam. I'm good. Yes. Plus, we are football mates, and I know we support different teams, but we'll leave that for later on in the program, I say.
Let's get that out there now. I mean, look, I'm a Tottenham fan. You're an Arsenal fan. We've met many times, and you've given me lots of grief over the years.
Yeah, correct. I think we equal this at the moment. Our teams are not exactly firing on all cylinders, but yeah, it's a bit of fun. It's been quite weird watching it behind closed doors, isn't it?
Yes, no fans seems to have helped Tottenham a little bit, but you guys seem to, have a bad season, but still pick up silverware. So I'm very envious.
Yeah. Thank God for something. Anyway, I think Arteta's doing a good job.
So look, Living the Dream is all about speaking to people like yourselves that have accomplished amazing, amazing things. And my listeners and viewers would love to know what it takes to be the best. So let's get straight into it. So growing up, watching your father, Gianfranco, as a very, very good jockey, did you always know you was going to be a jockey?
Two things. Well, obviously, I was born on a horse. From the day I can remember, I was always put on a horse, and then I started in pony club and not being very good academically. So I thought, well, my easy way out of school is I was quite small as well to become a jockey. Obviously, when I was looking at my father, he had the Mercedes in the drive, he had the villa, so he was an inspiration to me. And so that's how basically all started. And but my dad set a very big benchmark. He was champion jockey 13 times. He won thousands of races. So I actually never thought that it was possible to be like him. I think it was a bit too far to achieve what he achieved. So I started off ambitiously to, obviously you started off and you won your first winner, and then you want to be champion apprentice. So I started off step by step, and then it was very obvious by the time I was 16, 17, and I was, I stood out. I was a young jockey, but you could pick me out of the boys' races, and then it's a little bit of like a snowball effect. The more you win, the more you get confident, and the more you want to win, and the snowball become bigger and bigger and bigger. And I mean, we're probably going to go through it later on, me and you, but to a point that now it's an avalanche. Just things kept on coming. So, but believe it or not, when you asked me in the early days, I didn't expect to become this big. It only just happened step by step.
Can you remember back in 1987 when you won your first race? What that feeling was like?
Yeah, I remember it very well. I was 16. I was riding a filly called Lizzie Hare, and she was named after the secretary. The secretary, actually, Lizzie, she drove me. And so I went racing with her, and I was riding with my hero, Steve Coulthard and Pat Edry, and I managed to beat them both on the line at Goodwood. And I remember, it's a 3-hour journey back to Newmarket. I don't think I drew breath explaining the race to Lizzie, how I'd done it all. And I think this went on for about a week, yes. Of course, I guess like a footballer, when the scores their first goal, you never forget it.
And then a few years later, 1990, you won 100 races in one season. Did you know at that point that you could do anything in racing?
Well, I'll be honest with you. Basically, by the time I go to 18, I was already, I was I was breaking records, and I think I broke Leicester's record by a couple of months. The youngest jockey to win 100 races, so that was a big milestone. I'll be honest, at the time I didn't really know. I was just told by one of the pressmen. But yeah, I mean, I went from just being a rookie at 16. By the time I was 18, I was the top 3 jockeys in the country. So you arrived so quick, and I was appointed first jockey for Kumani, and I think that very season I had my first Group 1 winner. So 1990 was a good year for me.
Yeah, fantastic. And then when did the trademark flying dismount start, and how did it come about?
Well, basically, I just rolling back the years a little bit. When I was 16, 17, 18, and 19, those 4 winters, because we didn't have all weather racing in those days. So the winter in Newmarket were quite bleak. So my dad and Luca Kumani, the trainer, they decided to send me to America for 3 months. And, 2 things, because racing in America is all about time and pace. And then also the American style of riding is a lot more aerodynamic than ours. They really ride behind the neck to cut the wind. So I was there really on a learning basics. I wasn't doing much riding. Of course, I was riding in the mornings, but I wasn't doing much race riding. And I think that really was evident in the later years. That played a big part, because obviously I'm not bad about judging the pace, and my style of riding. I'm very much aerodynamic, a bit like the GP drivers. I just sit behind the horse's neck, and so there was 4 amazing winters, and obviously in the afternoons I was intrigued by the American racing. I was in Santa Anita, where they filmed the Blue Seabiscuit, and there was a jockey called Angel Cordero, and he was a hero of mine. And when he used to win the big race, he used to jump off. So I kind of, like an imposter, I stole it from him and took it to Europe. And actually, I didn't really use it. I did it several times in the morning, messing around. But it wasn't until '94 I won my first Breeders' Cup in America. Then I kind of forgot all about it. And the trainer said, "Oh, why don't you jump off the horse?" And I did it.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize what I started, because at first, the English Jockey Club were very stiff in those days. They didn't like it. They wanted to fine me. They wanted to stop me. I was a big hullabaloo for months. And but then, funny enough, years later, now they encourage me to do it. And when people come to the races, if I don't do it, they start booing. So I kind of slave of my own thing. So, but it's a little bit of fun. Obviously, some horses, they're a bit too nervy, you can't do it. But in general, it's a bit of fun, and it goes down really well.
Well, I'm sure I personally love seeing it, and I know everyone else does as well. You're loved by millions. Let's talk about 1996, which is probably one of the biggest days in your career, the Magnificent Seven. Can you explain and express your emotions from that day? I mean, wow, what an achievement.
Well, because never forget, it's 28th of September, 96, it changed my life. I mean, going back, obviously I woke up in the morning and I said, I had 7 rides, and I'm going through it. And basically I thought, well, I think I should win the first. The second, I had no chance. The third was the big race. Well, I got a chance of winning. Fourth, impossible. Fifth, not a clue. Sixth, I got a chance of winning. So I thought, well, out of 7, 3 possible, but obviously out of the 3, when you think like that, sometimes you come out with 1, but sometimes you come out with nothing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what I do remember is it was that day. I can divide it in 3 different events. Obviously, first one, second I was lucky, and third was the big race. It was the Queen Elizabeth. And don't forget, the Queen only gives you the trophy for that race, the Queen Elizabeth, and the Gold Cup. So it's a big deal, getting the trophy from the Queen. And so that was like my first part of the day. So I won the first 3. Then 4, 5, I don't remember much. I was still on cloud 9 from the for the other races. And then race 6, then right, my hands started to get sweaty because I know that I'm only 3 jockeys done 6 in a row in 300 years. Obviously, is Sir Gordon Richard in the 40s, Alex Russell, I don't even know when, and Willie Carson done in the 1990 when he won the first 6 in Newcastle. So I thought, well, it looked like a match race with me and Pat Edry. And I started getting nervous because I'm this close of equaling the record, 300 years record. So I was tense, and things didn't go to plan because I was meant to stay behind. And basically, the filly was called Lock Angel. She got a run on me, and I couldn't stop her. And I found myself in front. And anyway, lucky for me, she kept going, and I won. So that was a tremendous, satisfaction on my behalf of a great. I've been remembered now that I achieved something really important. So that was part 2 of my day. And then obviously we come to part 3 of my day, was the 7th, because not in a million years I thought the horse was going to win. Even I. The horse was out of form. He didn't win for a year. He had top weight. He was 12-1, and I thought. And I remember walking to the paddock for the last one, and everybody's cheering, and they all patting me on the back. Come on, you can do it! And I glanced at the betting board, and it was 2-1. I was shaking my head, thinking, is everybody mad making this horse favourite? He can't win, And luckily, he was a front runner, so it was easy to ride. And the 2-mile races in front of the grandstand. And as I cantered the horse to get to the starting gates, I got a standing ovation. 40,000 people were great. I was like flowing, my chest was sticking up like this, and I was milking it all. I was waving everyone. Really enjoyed the moment, because in my heart of heart, I thought, well, I'm not going to let this race spoil it, because really, basically, it's a 12-1 show. He can't really win. So let's enjoy it. Forget about the pressure. And it's probably one of the reasons why those won, because I rode it with, I didn't let the pressure get to me. I was very chilled, and I made the running. And long race, 2 miles, past the clubhouse turn, we down the back. We get to Swingley Bottom. That's a mile to go, and then we start to climb towards the winning post. And you see the markers, with the numbers, as you pass them. So 6, 5. I thought, when I get to the 3, I'll kick. 4. And then I got to the 3, so I started to winding him up. And obviously, is the Ascot bell. You hear the ding, 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 ding. And then you turn for more, and I could hear the crowd, like, woof. They all started screaming. And it was a constant scream for the last 2 furlongs. And all I could hear, it was Pat coming. I could hear his smacks, chat, chat. And it was coming. And poor Fujiama Crestmore, it was, bless him, it was knack. He was cutting top weight. His tongue was sticking out. I was knackered too. And we crossed the line, and I didn't know what to feel, I'll be honest. I was exhausted. I didn't really realize the magnitude. And I remember walking back, and there was people spilling everywhere. They were on the track, on the edges, they're all balconies. They were everywhere. And it was so surreal. It didn't even feel real. Everything was like, it was cloudy, got a little bit dark, and people taking pictures. And of course, I jumped off, and I was shaking my head, and then I was dragged everywhere. Everybody was pulling me in every different direction, and I did a million interviews, and I had to stay back for another 3 hours to sign everybody's race card. So it was a free event for me that day, and I didn't know what to think. I go in the car, I closed the door, my head was still buzzing. And actually, my she's now my wife, was my fiance then. She drove me to one of her friends' 21st. Well, I didn't want to go, and we ended up having an argument. And we drove home, and we pulled each other's duvet, and we slept back to back. And actually, I went to bed in a bad mood, actually. And really, so
typical.
that's a typical. Then, so I woke up this morning, I'm jumping out of bed, I'm flying, I couldn't wait to get the papers. I used to get my papers delivered in front of my house. And I don't know if you watch Notting Hill, when your man opens the door and all the paparazzis are outside.
Yeah.
And I'm in my underpants, my t-shirt, and I open the door, and there were 3 deep cameras, ITV, and everything, and they're all taking pictures. And I went to get my newspaper, boom, I shut the door quick, like, shit. She says, what's going on here? So I had to ring my manager to come and save me. But it changed my life. From then, basically, not only race, it was in the back page, it was in the front pages. And I didn't realize what actually happened. I moved the stock market. Bookmakers lost 40 million on the day. Punters around the country won 40 million. So it was like insane, absolutely insane. And up to these days, Liam, I get people coming up saying, oh, I want 5,000, I want 10,000, or you pay my holiday, you pay my new car. It's amazing, really. It really stuff for dreams. Even now when I put the tape on, I don't even begin to imagine that I did that. It was really mental.
Is that the greatest day of your life? I know you're a family man, and you married the beautiful Catherine after that. But is that the greatest day in your life so far?
In achievements, yes. I don't think I'll ever top there. Obviously, I managed to win the Derby, and all the other big races, but I don't think that the magnitude of what I achieved that day. Obviously, they put a statue there for a reason. They usually put a statue when you're dead. So I'm well forward. And at the time it was a world record to win 7 out of 7. Yeah, I'm very proud of that. But like I said, up to this day, I really don't know how it happened and why it did happen. But I'm proud of it.
Do you think it can ever be broken?
Well, now that obviously after this coronavirus, we have 10 race cards. So who knows? Up to last year, I mean, the maximum was 7 or 8. So, but now with 10, we'll give someone a chance to do it. So listen, the records are there to be broken, but I got there first.
So 3-time championship jockey, 500 group race winners. I have no idea how many winners you've had in your career in total. Do you know?
In England, over 3,000. Overall, about 3,500. So if you think about it, if I ride between 20-25% strike rate, I probably raced around 15,000 times. So they're quite big numbers when you think about it.
Absolutely.
I've been going on for a few years now.
Yes, you have been going for a few years. Before we get to your age and how you've been going. So look, we've got to talk about Ascot. You absolutely love Ascot, don't you? You've got an incredible record there. You won for the first time in 1990. Yep. And then you've gone on to win 73 races there, and including a hat trick, in the last meet on the last day. Is that your favourite racing day in the calendar?
Well, Ascot has always been good. I had my first Group 1 there in 1990. Obviously, I'm equal second with Pat Edry on winners in Royal Ascot behind Leicester. Obviously 8 Gold Cups, 7 King Georges. So it's always been a good hunting ground for me. I love the place. I come alive. The track suits my riding. I really love it. I feel, I guess like Roy Keane went to Old Trafford. I feel at home. I feel great. The fans get behind me. It was a shame this year we had no fans, but last year when I won the first 4 at the Gold Cup day, I mean, I thought the grandstand was going to come down. It was electric. It was amazing. And I've got to say, it's my favorite track. Ascot, and it always will be.
How different is it at the moment with no crowds for you as a jockey, and how's your stable mates? How do they feel when they're racing? Is it completely different?
Liam, I must say, I'm a person that I feed off the crowd. They get behind me. I get the adrenaline pumping, and it was different. It took a while to get used to. I remember the first day at Royal Ascot. I mean, it was very hard to pick yourself up. I think I had 3 espresso just to get myself G'd up. Of course, now we've been doing it for a couple of months. We got used to it, but it's not the same. My sport and the crowd go hand in hand. We need the crowd. So, hopefully it won't be long. I think we're going to do a pilot in September, I think, with the crowd. It was meant to happen at Goodwood last week, but obviously we had a few cases in the country, so they decided to give it another month. So hopefully, slowly. I mean, in France, they started to get the crowds in. Obviously, I was in Germany last week as well. we have to be cautious. Football has been the same, and but at least we are racing, but hopefully this won't stay here for long.
I want to talk about a horse which is quite special to you, Enable, 3 King Georges on her. How special is she to you?
Well, I went to see her this morning. I go to see her most mornings. She loves the polos, so she usually has a full pack. Look, she's been in my life for 4 years. Why do I love her more than the others? Because she has taken me emotionally to where other horses haven't. I mean, to win 2 arcs, 3 King Georges, and she's a star. She's got that presence, and she knows she's good, and we all love her. She's spoiled rotten, but quite rightly so. She achieved that. Than any horse that I rode in my career haven't. We're gonna try again. Something that has not been done with before, winning 3 arcs. We came close last year. We were second. We only got 2 months left, so let's enjoy it. I'll dread the day when she's gonna leave the stable because she's been part of my life for 4 years. But she's been a superstar, and my career. I'm not gonna carry on riding forever, and to find one like her again, it'd be very hard for me in my lifetime.
Do you have a routine every race day that you followed over the years?
I obviously it's no secret. I'm 49, so it's funny in my sport. You compete I compete with people that are less than half of my age. 20s in the 30s. So I do try to. I go to the gym once a day. Well, I'll do an hour in the gym every day, so I can keep up with the young boys. And that's the routine. And just I study the form the night before or the morning of the races, and obviously I've got 30 years of experience, so I do a little bit of homework, but I usually let my instinct to take over and do the rest. In generally works that way.
You touched on your age. On your age. How do you keep so physically fit and mentally fit to produce such a high level and consistency over the years? Right now, do you still believe that you're going to win every race?
Listen, I'll be honest with you, Liam. The most important thing, you're going to love what you do. Otherwise, there's no point in doing it. I love what I do. I love the horses. I love competing in the races. I love competing with my colleagues. That's what keeps me young. And now I know how to what makes me tick. So I call a lot of the ride. I mean, in my younger days, I used to ride 1,200 races a year. Now I'm down to about 200, 250. I try to keep selective because that way it keeps my mind more focused. And it's, the less you ride, there's less chances of falling, less chances of getting hurt. Unfortunately, my age, when I do fall, I break, not because I fall any different. It's because my bones are harder; they don't flex as much. So I have to look after myself. But I think the key thing is really enjoy what you do, and I do love it. It's been part of my life for over 30 years. That's why I do every day. By the racing post, and even if I don't ride, I watch it. And I go to the stables and I engage with my trainer John Gosden, and we have plans. And it's part of your life, and that's what keeps me young.
Would you have done anything differently in your career?
Well, what was changed in my life, obviously, in 2000, I had my plane crash, and then that changed my mentality a lot. I became more. I enjoy myself a bit more. I gave a bit more time to the family. I would say if I didn't have that crash, I probably would have been more focused, and I probably would have broken more records. So, but that's one thing. It wasn't my choice. That's what happened in my life. Perhaps if I didn't have that plane crash, I could achieve more on my riding career. But it is what it is. I'm still alive, and thank God for that.
Yeah, for sure, 100%. What would be the best advice you would give to a young jockey at the moment that would love to be the next Frankie Dettori?
Well, the advice is love what you do. Love the horse, because that's the most important thing. If you got the love for them, and love what you do, then obviously it goes without saying you got to put hard work, you got to listen a lot, and try what suits you. There is not a complete book to say how to become good or how to, same in any sport. You have to try yourself what works for you, and then take step by step. But I think the most important thing is to have the passion and the love of what you do. I think that if you start with that, you're halfway there.
So would you say passion and loving what you do is the most important thing and the reason behind your success, or would you pinpoint something else? Is it purely dedication?
I would say that you got to have the passion. Obviously, everybody tells you, you got to you got to work hard. Of course, you got to work hard. It's not going to come from the sky. But I think if you work hard, you have the passion and you want it. You're halfway there.
And finally, what's next for Frankie Dettori? I mean, hopefully there's not plans to retire, but you mentioned your age, and you like spending time with your family. What's next for you?
Well, obviously, look, in the near future, to me, my biggest achievement that I'm going to try to do this year is try to gain able for the Arc the first Sunday of October in Paris. So that's a big thing to keep me going for the next 2 months. And hopefully I'm going to carry on as long as my legs permit and my mind still wants it. So I haven't got a fixed date or when I'm going to stop. One thing for sure, I'm not going to go into training. I haven't got the patience. My wife said I've got a concentration span of a flea. So that's the training out of the way. I probably would do a bit of work on TV, commentating, going down that route, because that way it keeps me involved in the sport. But at the moment, I have no plan to retire.
And I've got to ask you about the scenario that nearly ruined your career completely. Celebrity Big Brother.
Yeah, yeah. That was interesting. It was interesting. It's like doing a month in prison. Basically, it was different. I thought I was a bit weird, but when I went in there, I thought actually I'm quite normal. Everybody's crazy. Yeah, it was an experience. Let me tell you, Liam.
Frankie, I love speaking to you, and thank you so much for coming on the show. You inspire me, and you're going to inspire so many of my listeners and people that are watching Posh Cockney TV. I wish you all the best, and hopefully Enable gets you over the line for that goal that you've set. And thanks once again.
I'll see you at the football, Liam. Thank you, pal.
Cheers,
thanks everyone. Bye.